I found it in an old tobacco tin, tucked under the floorboards of my barn. A letter, folded 3 times, yellowed at the edges. It was addressed to me, from me, dated exactly 10 years ago. Back then, I had just turned 50. The letter was full of fire, full of hope, too. I had written it after a long night on the porch, watching the stars and wondering where my life was headed. I wrote down the man I wanted to become, the habits I swore I'd build, and the mistakes I prayed I'd stop making. But I never sent it, never read it again until now. 10 years gone. I stood there in the barn, letter in one hand, head in the other, heart heavy. So much of what I promised myself was still just that, a promise. That's when I knew, if I didn't speak now, maybe someone else would waste 10 more years. I should have told my father I forgave him. He wasn't a bad man, just a broken one. Worked hard, drank harder, and loved in silence. I spent years waiting on the right time to tell him I understood, that I wasn't mad no more. But time don't wait for reckonings. He passed one spring morning, sitting in his old recliner, boots still on. I never got to say the words. That is when I learned one of life's hardest laws. Speak before it is too late. Pride keeps our mouths shut and regret pries our hearts open too late. Don't wait for the right moment, make it. If there's love to be spoken or pain to be healed, speak it now. Tomorrow's a maybe. For the longest time, I believed time would fix everything. Grief, shame, broken dreams. I thought if I just waited long enough, they'd pass like a storm. But time ain't medicine. It's just the clock ticking while your heart sits there, still bruised. It wasn't until I got back to work, real work, with my hands in the soil and sweat on my brow, that the healing started. The truth is, time doesn't heal. Work does. Fix the fence, write the letter, plant the seed, clean the attic. Whatever your soul's been avoiding, do it. You don't fix a barn by staring at it. You pick up the hammer, and slowly, the ache becomes action. The pain becomes purpose. I once had a chance to buy the land next to mine, 20 acres of good pasture, a creek running through it. The price was fair, and my gut told me it was right. But fear whispered, what if you fail? What if the bank says no? What if you ain't ready? So I waited, hesitated. The land sold a week later to someone else. He built it up, double its value, and I watched from across the fence for 20 years. Fear keeps you safe. Regret reminds you what it cost. I learned then, fear is temporary, regret is permanent. If you're scared, that's human, but don't let it paralyze you. Action hurts less than what if. Move, even if you shake. Courage ain't the absence of fear, it's moving through it. There's pain in discipline and there's pain in regret, but only one of them builds something. Back when I was young, I avoided early mornings, slept in, skipped chores, told myself I'd work harder later. But later came with interest, missed opportunities, sore muscles, and a reputation for being unreliable. And that's when I learned, if you don't choose your pain, it'll choose you. You can sweat now or bleed later. You can swallow your pride and say sorry, or carry the weight of a broken bond for years. You can hustle through discomfort or coast into failure. Pain's coming either way. Might as well make it count. I started getting up before dawn, doing the hard things first. My life didn't get easier, but I got stronger. And that pain, it started building a man I could respect. Pick your pain wisely. One grows you, the other owns you. I remember the first time my oldest boy talked back to me. He was 16, full of fire, just like I was at that age. His words stung deep, sharper than any thorn I pulled from the field. I didn't sleep that night. Next day, I sat him down, told him this, son, love ain't about perfection. It's about weathering storms together. See, folks will hurt you, even the ones you love, especially them. Not 'cause they're bad, but 'cause they're close. Expectations, missteps, pride, it all gets tangled up. But here's the truth, everyone will hurt you in some way. So choose the ones worth hurting. For the ones who apologize, who try, who stay. I've been let down by partners, friends, even blood. But I learned to stop expecting flawlessness. Instead, I started choosing folks who were real, who grew with me, not just beside me. Forgiveness is a stronger foundation than resentment. And loyalty, well, it's the rarest fruit of all. Stick with those who show up, not just when it's easy, but when it's hell. Those are your people. Fight for them. I knew a man once, Earl, hardest working fella I ever met. Built 3 barns, ran 2 herds, owned more land than most counties, died with a bank account full. But at his funeral, hardly a soul showed. Why? 'Cause all his life, he filled his pockets, but never his people. Now don't get me wrong, work's important. It'll feed your family, put boots on your kids, but it won't mean nothing if folks remember you as the one who cussed out the cashier or cheated your brother over a deal. Character, that's what lasts. The way you treat folks when no one's looking. The honesty in your handshake. The patience when you're tired. The kindness you offer even when it ain't deserved. Your grave won't be filled with your bank balance. It'll be filled with the echoes of your choices. The way your children talk about you. The lessons you left behind. I chose long ago. I'd rather be remembered as a man of my word than a man of means. Turns out, when you lead with character, riches often follow anyway. Funny how that works. Time is a tricky thing. Slips right through your fingers like creek water. And once it's gone, you can holler all you want, it ain't coming back. I used to think being busy meant being productive. I'd run from sunup to sundown fixing fences, baling hay, checking stock in at the end of the day, feeling like I did a whole lot, but not much that really mattered. One evening, my youngest tugged my sleeve, said, "Daddy, you never sit down anymore." That cut deeper than any chore ever did. That night, I realized, if you don't fight for your time, someone else will take it. The world's full of folks willing to steal your minutes, emails, meetings, errands, drama that ain't yours to fix. You gotta protect your time like your harvest. Set boundaries. Say no when it ain't worth it. Make room for what feeds your soul, not just your wallet. Because in the end, what do we really own but the moments we lived and shared? Don't trade your time for noise. Fight for the quiet, for the people who matter, for the sunrise on the porch and the stories by firelight. That's the kind of rich no one can steal. There was a time I bent over backward for people who wouldn't even lean forward for me. I'd mend their fences, loan in tools, listen to their troubles, all hoping they'd do the same if the storm ever came my way. But when the clouds rolled in, not a soul in sight. That's when I learned some folks are only around for the shade you give, not the roots you plant. You'll waste years trying to prove your worth to people who already decided you ain't valuable. Not 'cause it is true, but 'cause they can't see past their own reflection. Don't make your life a chase, especially not after folks who'd never break a sweat for you. Loyalty's a two-way trail. You give and you get. If it's always you knocking on doors and never getting a knock back, it's time to stop. Invest in people who show up when it ain't convenient, who check in when there's nothing in it for them, who clap for you when you're not in the room. Your time, your energy, your love, it's sacred. Don't pour it into buckets with holes. Pour it where it grows. You ever feel like you're stuck in a loop? Like life keeps throwing the same challenges at you, over and over, no matter what you do? I sure have. I remember a time when I couldn't hold on to $1 to save my life. Bad investment after bad investment. I'd tell myself, next time, I'll be smarter. But the next time came, and I made the same mistake again. Then, one day, I realized, life ain't gonna stop teaching you the same lesson until you learn it. And the more you fight it, the harder it gets. So, I stopped, took a good long look at my mistakes. I asked myself, why am I keeping this cycle going? It wasn't the investments that were flawed. It was me, my habits, my mindset, my way of viewing money. Once I changed my approach, life gave me a different test. And this time, I passed. If there's something in your life you keep tripping over, look deeper. The universe ain't trying to punish you. It's trying to teach you. Learn the lesson, and you'll finally break free from that loop. Fear has a way of creeping up on you like a thick fog, clouding your vision, slowing your steps. And I am not talking about the fear of snakes or a thunderstorm. I am talking about the deep, quiet fear, the one that tells you you're not good enough, or what if you fail? There was a time when I had a chance to expand my farm. I could have bought more land, hired help, maybe even gotten into cattle breeding. But the thought of all the work, all the risk, well, it kept me up at night. And you know what? For a long while, I let that fear control me. But one day, I realized something. Fear ain't a sign you should quit. It's a sign you should go. If your dreams don't scare you, you're probably playing it too safe. The best things in life often come wrapped in the unknown. So, I took a breath, took a leap, and bought that land. Was it hard? You bet. Did I face setbacks? Plenty. But I learned this: when fear speaks, it's just trying to hold you back from the greatness you're meant for. I spent a lot of years waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the land to be right, the weather to cooperate, the money to be in place. I kept telling myself, once this happens, I'll do it. Once I'm ready, I'll take the leap. But here's the truth: the perfect moment don't exist. It is a lie we tell ourselves so we don't have to face the fear of starting before we feel ready. I realized that the moment you wait for is the one that slips away. The cows still need fed, the fence still needs fixing, and your dreams still need to be lived. The longer you wait, the longer you put off the things that could change your life. So, I stopped waiting. I took the first step, even though it wasn't perfect. And that step led to another, and another, and eventually, I looked around and realized I'm living the life I used to dream about. If you're waiting for things to line up just right, you'll be waiting forever. The right time is now. Do what you can with what you've got, and the rest will follow. Hardships, they've been a constant companion of mine. If it wasn't a drought that dried up the crops, it was a storm that tore down the barn. If it wasn't a sick cow, it was a busted tractor. I remember feeling like the world was out to get me, but over time, I realized something important. Every hardship comes with a hidden lesson. Every challenge, as painful as it is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the next one. I remember one winter where the pipes froze. The animals needed extra care, and I thought it was the end of the world. But instead of letting it break me, I learned how to adapt, improvise, and keep pushing through. That winter made me a better farmer and a better man. The truth is, you'll face hardships in every part of your life. But it ain't the hardships that define you, it's how to respond to them. Do you give up? Or do you dig deep and find a way to keep going? When you shift your mindset to see problems as opportunities, you start turning life's hardest moments into the richest lessons. The folks you surround yourself with, they can make or break you. I've learned that the hard way. You see, a man is only as strong as the people he keeps close. I spent years hanging out with folks who always complained, who never took responsibility, and who were just fine sitting in their comfort zones. At first, I didn't think much of it, but over time, I noticed something. Their mindset started rubbing off on me. I was starting to make excuses, to look for the easy way out. The same folks who were supposed to lift me up were holding me back. Then one day, I decided enough was enough. I made the hard decision to start cutting ties with people who weren't helping me grow. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I sought out folks who challenged me, who encouraged me, who didn't let me get lazy. And guess what? My life started to change. The right people push you to be better, to strive harder, and to never settle. If the people around you ain't making you better, they're making you worse. Choose wisely. Your circle will either lift you up or drag you down. Make sure you're surrounded by the right ones. I spent most of my life thinking that once you reached a certain age, it was too late to start anything new. I was well into my 40s before I thought about expanding my farm, and I nearly talked myself out of it. I thought, I'm too old. I've spent all these years doing things one way. What if I mess it all up now? But one thing I learned over the years, there's no expiration date on dreams. You're never too old to start something new, no matter where you're at in life. Sure, it may be harder than it was when you were young, but that don't mean it's impossible. One day, I decided to take a leap. I bought a piece of land and started trying new techniques. I learned new ways to grow crops, experimented with different kinds of animals. It wasn't easy, and there were plenty of failures along the way. But I'll tell ya, those new ventures changed my life for the better. If you've got something on your heart, whether it's a new project, a new career, or just a new hobby, don't let age hold you back. You're never too old to start. In fact, sometimes age gives you the wisdom and patience to see it through. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in all my years is that learning never stops. Just because you've got a little experience under your belt doesn't mean you know it all. I've been farming for most of my life, but every year I discover something new, whether it's a new crop, a new tool, or even a new way to connect with my family. There were times early on when I thought I knew everything there was to know about farming. I figured, I've been doing this for decades. What could I possibly learn now? But I quickly realized life ain't like that. You either keep learning or you start fading. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And if you stop growing, you stop living. Even today, I read books, attend workshops, and talk to younger farmers who have fresh ideas. And you know what? They teach me something new every time. Learning from others, no matter how young or old, keeps me sharp and makes me a better man, a better farmer, and a better father. So, don't ever think you've learned it all. There's always something new out there. And the day you stop learning is the day you start losing. Stay curious. Stay hungry. If there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this. Don't wait like I did. Don't wait for the perfect time or for everything to fall into place. The time is now. The seeds you plant today, the lessons you learn, and the changes you make, that's what shapes your future.